How's it going, everyone? Rachel West here. It's game day, and we are checking back in with Bucs reporter Rick Stroud. Rick, one of the Bucs' biggest issues this season really has been their inconsistency week to week. Now this week, they're going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, who they're the definition of consistency and cohesion. So what kind of challenge are they in for today, taking on the defending Super Bowl champs?
Well, it's the biggest challenge you can have, right? And I think when we started this year, we said those teams that had continuity, like Andy Reid, and of course, anytime you have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, you've got a really good chance. They're a 9-1 football team. They're healthy. They got a lot of weapons. The Bucs, on the other hand, are not healthy. They've got injuries on both sides of the ball, particularly at cornerback. Jamel Dean is not going to play. So it's going to be a matter of trying to plaster those receivers because we know Mahomes is going to extend plays and do some amazing things with his arm. And then offensively, the Bucs have to find some kind of rhythm. They've just been out of sorts. They haven't hit the deep ball. They got to figure out, if they can get their running backs involved and run the football successfully. So it's probably the hardest team that they've played so far, and they need a win. They need to try to, avenge for their loss last week.
Right, and all this past week, there's been a lot of noise, a lot of criticism coming from the national scene on the coaching staff and how they're handling Brady and the play calling. So what do you make of all that? And I mean, you see these guys on a day-to-day basis. What do you think the relationship's like?
Well, I think it's okay. When I talk to coaches, Tom Brady isn't going around being mad at Bruce Arians. I know that people aren't used to him being called out, but he knew that was going to happen. And quite frankly, I think he probably wants him to hold him accountable the way he does all the other players. But having said that, there is a disconnect with this offense still with Tom Brady trying to force the ball down the field a little too much. He's over his last 20 and passes over 20 yards. So they need to, move closer to what Brady does. But look, Bruce Arians is not going to compromise. He's going to run his offense. That's the offense that Byron Leftwich knows, and they're going to sink or swim with it. Sometimes it looks great, and of late it hasn't. So they're going to have to figure out what the middle ground is there, and the sooner they do that, the better. But you're always going to get criticism when you bring in a guy like Tom Brady and you're not, the number one team in the NFC. So I just think it goes with the territory. If they won today, all of a sudden everybody would be happy. But that's the way it's a week-to-week league in the NFL.
That's the truth for sure. And earlier you bring up some of the injuries that the team's suffering from right now. A.Q. Shipley was a big one last week, suffering a career-ending injury. What does that mean for him moving forward and the rest of the offensive line?
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Shipley. He's a real character of the game. He's played a lot of years, and he has done for his career. He's going to begin trying to see what he thinks coaching is like. He'll start that with the Bucs right away. But I think that, in short term, they'll move Ryan Jensen back to center. It looks like, and this has just been reported, I put it out on Twitter just a few minutes ago, that Ali Marpet has cleared concussion protocol and actually has a chance to play today. I don't know that he'll start. We'll see. I would imagine he would if he's available to him. And then, the big question mark is at left tackle. Donovan Smith did not practice all week. I know he's going to try it before the game. He's got a really bad ankle that he fought through last week. But I would expect that maybe Josh Wells will get the start at left tackle. So some more shifting and moving around, but it would be big news for Ali Marpet to get back. And the good news is that he's finally cleared the concussion protocol.
Yes, we'll definitely be keeping our eye on that later today around game time. So thanks for taking the time, Rick. We'll be checking back with you post-game to break it all down. Everyone make sure you follow him throughout the game for all the updates and be following TampaBay.com for live coverage there as well.